And to get us started tonight, I'm going to turn the mic and camera over to Andrew Dyment in just a moment. Andrew lives in Brooklyn, Ontario, and is currently a teacher at Ajax High School. He's been there for 6 years and has been teaching overall for about 10 years. And Andrew has shared with us his words to live by, that there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. Andrew's also a rugby and volleyball coach, and we look forward to hearing his presentation.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm Andrew Dyment from Ajax High School. Happily took over the outdoor ed program there about 5 or 6 years ago. Firstly, I'd like to just thank the organizers for the invitation to speak. I appreciate the opportunity to advocate for outdoor ed. I was joking that this is my first kind of formal chance to do that, and I mostly get to do it amongst hiking and camping and canoeing with people that I run into. So I'll take any opportunity that I can to advocate for outdoor ed programs. I would speak to one or two of you, and it's great to see this many people signed up to listen. Just a brief background on Ajax High School, if you're not familiar. We are about 45 minutes outside of Toronto. Basically a suburb community, very diverse community. Many of our students aren't exposed to the types of activities that we do in outdoor ed, especially camping, canoeing, paddling. We come from a fairly low socioeconomic area, but then we have a range of students up to $1 million homes, high socioeconomic area. So the demographic of our outdoor ed program relatively represents our school population. So we find ways to get creative with including as many students as we can within our program. So the plan today, I'll give you a brief history of outdoor ed at Ajax, take you through what it looks like now, and then some challenges that I think that our program faces currently and down the road here. So first off, before my time, so at Ajax High, it started as an outdoors program in the 80s and 90s and was transformed into classes and courses in the mid to late 90s. So as it sits right now, our students can get credit for a grade 10 outdoor ed, a grade 11 outdoor ed, and new this year is a grade 12 outdoor ed. So it's transformed from just a club to now an actual course that students can take. I started teaching there 6 years ago and was happy to take it over from one of my colleagues and friends. He's acted as a mentor for the last 5 to 6 years, but he's happy to turn it over to me. And happy to see somebody new with a passion for canoeing and passion for camping and passion for getting students into the outdoors, and he's allowing me to run with it. So this is what we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years since I've been there. So in my first 2 years, one class in the grade 10, one class in the grade 11 program. And then in the last 3 years, we've seen an influx in the amount of students that want to take outdoor ed. I have some reasons for this coming up on the next slide. But as you can see in the current school year, so 2023-2024, we have 3 sections of grade 10 outdoor ed, 1 grade 11. And then because students were enjoying it so much, this year I decided to offer the grade 12 dual credit course, which is starting up second semester. There's been a little bit of difficulty through the COVID years here with some grade 10 classes and maturity level. And it's made us kind of second guess if we need to be offering this to students that young. But in the end, that's part of what we need to teach, right? Is those opportunities and that maturity level in order to partake in the activities that we offer them. So my success and how did it grow? So why have we seen this increase in students that are taking it in the last 3 years? These are kind of my estimation of why that happened. First of all, in the top, you see our Instagram account, so Ajax HS _ outdoor ed. Give it a follow if you have Instagram, see what we're doing. In the world of social media, if we can promote our programs in any way, I would say that the Instagram account had a major influence on the amount of students that are taking it. In my first few years, we also made a big push towards some highlight videos that we posted to virtual classrooms. We have TV screens in the school that I made some videos and posted pictures to. Basically getting exposure to what we do in outdoor ed and promote it. Part of the grade 10 program is they produce a reflective journal ISU, which is basically a scrapbook of their time in outdoor ed during the semester. So they have to take pictures and take videos and put that all together and talk about their experiences in outdoor ed. But what I found that kind of turns into is students exposing their friends to what we do in outdoor ed. So they're on their phones, they're taking pictures, they're taking videos, and all of a sudden their friends get sent a video of us making craft dinner in the forest. And that shows their friends that they want to take outdoor ed. So it's funny what social media can do. Yes, it's been beneficial to promote our program, but we've got this balance that I try to get out of the students. And the quote that I usually read them on the first day and continuously throughout the semester is, we've got this generation of people that's happier to watch people live their lives instead of actually living them. So we've got students that are happy to sit there at home and watch TikTok and watch Instagram and watch all these videos of people dancing and people cooking. But in outdoor ed, we actually do some cool stuff. So convincing students to put their phone down, actually do some cool stuff is kind of my philosophy as we go through the years of social media here. Another thing that helped was hardly being affected during the COVID years. So when we went through times of cohorts and masking and restrictions on what we could do in schools, outdoor ed was hardly affected because we just went outside. We were able to go biking and go hiking, and we were able to do canoe trips just because it was the ability to get outside. So that definitely helped during that time, and kids realized that they could get outside, take their mask off, and actually do some cool stuff. Lastly, and probably most importantly, is a very supportive phys ed guidance and admin team. I've been fortunate enough to have multiple teachers in my school that have taught outdoor ed in the past, multiple teachers that are qualified to currently teach outdoor ed, and teachers in the guidance department that support our outdoor ed program have a very like-minded focus to myself, support the program, encourage kids to take it. And it truly takes a team idea, like a team needs to build on what we offer and promote our program in order to get students to take it. I've been fortunate enough with my last two admin teams that they are completely supportive of the program as well, which will come up in my challenges in terms of how to sustain these programs. So what does paddling look like for us? Before we go on a trip, it starts on our soccer field in the classroom in order to do the pre-trip training. So over my few years of teaching outdoor ed, my philosophy has become, how do I take the learning outdoors? So instead of sitting in the classroom talking about paddling strokes, that kind of stuff, it's get outside and actually do it. So instead of talking about cooking with stoves in the classroom, get outside and actually cook with the stoves. So before we actually get out on our outdoor ed trips, I teach them how to portage, how to go over our canoe over canoe rescue on the soccer field, how to portage tandem, how to portage solo, basically get them outside and teach them the basic skills that we need before we actually get on the water. When we actually get on the water, we are fortunate enough to live close to a creek that flows into Lake Ontario. So Duffins Creek is where we can take the students to paddle. The majority of our students can walk or bike to the creek in order to meet us there to practice our paddling to get on our canoe trips. Duffins Creek is about 6 feet deep, at the most 6 to 8 feet deep, usually 2 to 4 feet deep, and about 10 to 15 meters wide. So it's super safe environment to teach kids how to paddle. Again, many of our students have never been exposed to paddling, don't know what a J-stroke is, never been in a canoe before. So this gives us a controlled environment to go over all of our safety precautions, teach them how to effectively launch a canoe, get out of a canoe, switch spots in a canoe, practice their strokes, with, in my mind, very little risk in terms of what could go wrong. We've had canoes tip on Duffins Creek before, and it's simply kids can stand up, walk to shore, flip their canoe over, and get back in. So after Duffins Creek, we have the potential to go out into Lake Ontario, paddle in a bit more open water. Usually it has to be a calm day with little wind. We can practice some rough water entries and exits at this time, or practice strokes in some windy conditions. But again, it has to be favorable in the big open water to take the kids out into Lake Ontario. We also go over rafting up, switching the bow and the stern paddler. And when the students get a little bit more experience in grade 11, grade 12, some of them bring fishing rods, and we do some canoe races and games and stuff like that out in Lake Ontario. So what do the trips look like? For our grade 10 trip, we go into Algonquin Park, do 3 days and 2 nights. We put in at a campground on the Highway 60 corridor and paddle down to a group campground with about 100-meter portage. Day 2, we do about a 2.5-hour paddle to hike the Booth's Rock Trail. The top of that trail is the picture in that slide there. One of the best views in my mind in Algonquin Park, and definitely one of the highlights of the course for the grade 10 students. And then on the 3rd day, we take down and paddle back out to Lake of Two Rivers. The benefits of this route is it's a very manageable route for grade 10s that are especially new to paddling. A lot of extraction points, a lot of contingency plans in case stuff goes wrong. And it also keeps them busy and tires them out for the end of the day, so that they will actually go to sleep and give our teacher supervisors sleep at night as well. The hike and the top of the Booth's Rock Trail is usually one of the lasting memories that our students will talk about even years afterwards, as they move through the program. So the grade 11 trip is a slightly different, slightly modified trip compared to the grade 10. So we do a more popular route in Algonquin Park out of the Canoe Lake access point and paddle into Joe Lake. So it's a 350-meter portage into there. Day 2, we do a paddling loop. If we have a more advanced group of students, we'll take down and trip on that 2nd day. But usually we'll do a day trip with a 450-meter portage and 1,100-meter portage. The idea behind it is we aren't staying at a campground like the grade 10 class. We're staying in the backcountry with more portaging, and we take out the hike from the 2nd day from grade 10, change that into more paddling and portaging on the 2nd day in grade 11. Again, benefits of it for a school group: super safe, minimize risks, multiple extraction points. There is some potential for modifications of the trip depending on weather. We've had some super rainy days on the second day and gone for hikes instead of getting out on the water, kind of thing. Grade 12. So first year that we are offering it, second semester. So I've got some ideas, but essentially what I want this trip to be is student-led. So we put in a prerequisite that all of our grade 12 students that take outdoor ed this year had to have taken it in either grade 10 or 11. So I do want to extend the trip to the extra nights, so 4 days, 3 nights. But because our guidance department is so accommodating to outdoor ed, they offered asked whether I want outdoor ed in first semester or second. I said I preferred second semester, so now it gives me time to actually work with the students in planning our trip. So I've got some potential loops that we can do, but ultimately I think the route is going to mostly come from them. So do we want to bring the bikes and potentially do some biking? Do we add some hikes to the trip? Are we interested in long portages, short portages? So we've got some time to figure that out at the start of the semester, and I'm hoping that a lot of the feedback comes from that. Okay, I've got a highlight video from 2 years ago. So this was our grade 10 group. The majority of these kids have now taken our grade 12 course this year. So this is kind of where they got their start to camping and canoeing, and how we hooked them and convinced them to keep taking the program. that's kind of how we promoted it at the start. So yeah, that was from 2 years ago. I'll try to summarize my challenges here fairly quickly to get to the other presenters. But I summed it up into 4 challenges into how we keep these programs going and some potential solutions to it. So obviously priority number 1 is to find a teacher or teachers qualified and willing to teach it. So we need to keep certifying staff. We at Ajax, again, are fortunate enough to have a big collection of teachers that have either taught it before, are qualified to teach it, or interested in teaching it. So thanks to Phil Matsushita, who's on the call here, I believe he'd be responsible for certifying all of our 9 teachers in ORCA certification. So we have 6 at the CT3 level and 3 at the CT2 level. But what we've realized in the last couple of years is you can't just do it on your own. So we need to spread these outdoor ed sections out. So more students are wanting to take it, but we need to spread these sections out among certified teachers and teachers that are willing to do it. So of the 5 teachers on staff that have taught outdoor ed, 3 of them have sort of handed it over to myself and 1 or 2 others, and it's our job to keep it going. What I'll say is once you stop running the outdoor ed program in schools, it's very difficult to start it up again. And I was just recently offered to buy canoes from another school. And I highly encouraged that principal to not sell the canoes and the outdoor ed gear, because you never know what teacher is going to come in there in order to start up another outdoor ed program. And one of the biggest barriers would be the initial cost of buying all of that equipment in order to start it up again. Second challenge, cost associated with the program. So obviously in our neighborhood, low socioeconomic status, this is one of the major barriers that students face in order to take outdoor ed. We've also seen the rise in bus costs in the last 4 or 5 years, exponentially at about, I'd say 50-60% for the cost of our busing. So some solutions to it that we've had to kind of get creative in ways to combat the rising cost of running the program. We ended up buying our own fleet of canoes so that we don't have to rent anymore. Unfortunately, the discussion always comes up as, do we charge our students more to take the course? So we are predominantly funded by a course fee for our courses. We haven't raised the course fee in about 10 years, and the discussion happens multiple times per semester. With the rising costs of all of our activities and buses, does it go on the backs of our students now to make up for the increased costs that it's taking to run the program? We've been creative with ways that we can help subsidize our less fortunate students with bursaries and grants that we can apply to the board. Essentially, when students come into the program on the first day, I tell them, don't let the cost be the reason that you switch out of the course. We'll find a way to help you out. Again, with supportive admin, supportive guidance department, we've been able to kind of make this happen, but it's definitely one of the biggest challenges that we face. Third one, so increased risk management protocols and policies, qualification courses that we have to take as teachers. The supervision ratio is constantly changing and being reduced. And this idea of low risk versus high risk activities. So we're constantly being faced with inconsistencies between teachers in the board, principals in the board, and system leads in the board in terms of what we can and can't do, or what paperwork we need to do this activity versus what another school does to do the same activity. There's also this idea that we need additional supervisors in order to do what some people might deem high risk and what others would deem moderately or low risk. So there's a lot of inconsistencies that we work through. And I know it's been one of the more frustrating things as a team of outdoor ed teachers within our board. And the solution to me would be kind of like a streamlined paperwork, streamlined idea of this is the process that you have to go through in order to run this activity or this trip. So we as outdoor ed teachers need to come together collectively and say, this is what we're proposing. This is what needs to happen. These are the trips that we want to run, and then kind of go from there. The discrepancies between the DESB policies and OFIA safety standards, again, that gets confusing, especially for newer outdoor ed teachers. That there are differences between what we read on the OFIA website and the policies in place by our board. So some ones to note here: the OFIA swim test allows participants to complete the swim test with a life jacket or PFD on. Our board does not. Our board also doesn't allow whitewater canoeing, which I know Jared's a big proponent of this. He's on the call as well. How do we get kids paddling? Well, I'll give them a shot at whitewater canoeing. What's the solution to this? Again, maybe a collective effort by our outdoor ed teachers saying, these are the activities we want to do. This is the paperwork involved. This is the qualifications that we need. Here's the risk management policies, and hopefully we can move forward with it. Lastly, the logistics around the swim test. So again, one of the major barriers for our demographic is the cost as well as the swim test. In my mind, the swim test for our paddling and camping trips needs to move to something more along the lines of a water familiarity test. So I think students need to be in a position that might potentially arise when we are canoeing or we are on a trip with them. So doing a swim test fully clothed with shoes on in a lake seems a little bit more appropriate to me than something that's very controlled in a pool setting, where students are a little bit more comfortable. So I'd be more concerned over if students are able to not panic when their canoe flips in a lake versus can they tread water for X amount of time. That to me would give me a little bit more indication of, yes, I feel safe taking this student on the trip. I'll try to speed up here. So ended on a positive note. Student testimonials. So these are taken directly from some grade 10 ISU assignments that have been submitted in the past. No, I didn't bribe them with chocolate or anything in order to give me these. These are copy and pasted straight from their assignments. So in conclusion, I am so lucky to have the opportunity to take such an amazing class and to have had experiences with my friends on all of the trips and outings that we participated in. Another one, we went to Algonquin for our ISU, 3 days of camping. We canoed, hiked, portage, played card games, made our own meals to share with the class, and made unforgettable memories, and I will never forget. I even made some new friends on this trip that I will probably have for the rest of school. This was by far one of the best things I've done in my life, and I am so glad I took this class and had the amazing opportunities that I did. Finally, outdoor ed had to be one of my favorite classes I've taken this year. The memories and bonds that I have made with this class will be everlasting. So ended on a positive. I think I'm preaching to the choir here, saying that the benefits that we give these students in outdoor ed are endless. And it's a battle that I'm willing to fight in order to keep these programs going in schools. And really, I'm willing to share any ideas and be in meetings in order to sustain them, in order to keep them going. Because I see the value, I see the looks on the kids' faces, and I talk to the parents after we do the things that we do. And I think we really need to advocate for it now more than ever. Thank you.